So what's going on, guys? I wanted to discuss something that goes on and on and on and on. Which is better than what? Mac versus PC, Windows versus Mac OS 10 versus Linux versus whatever operating system you're on. Take your pick. They're so stupid. The debates are so dumb. It boiled down to fanboys, and fanboyism is stupid. I don't care if you're a fan of Macs, I don't care if you're a fan of Sony, I don't care if you're a fan of Windows, I don't care if you're a fan of Linux. The tribalism is stupid because you're limiting yourself to only technology that one company provides. That's just dumb. How many people have HD TVs with a PS3 that's not hooked up to a Bravia? I know plenty. I got people who have a 360 that's hooked up to a Sony, which is redundant. I have people that have Macs that are running Windows 7. That's redundant too. I have people that are running PCs that are running Linux. I have people that have Macs that are running Linux and OS 10. So it's, see the point? It's dumb. You're limiting yourself to one platform. Okay, whatever. That's your platform of choice. Are you going to limit your choice in the software? Are you going to limit yourself to, say, Adobe? Are you going to limit yourself to, say, Apple products like Final Cut? Or on the PC side, are you going to stick with Adobe Elements? Or are you going to try some of the other stuff that's available, like what I use right now, Coral Studio, or PaintShop, or PrintShop, or, take your pick instead of Photoshop, or the GIMP, or any of these other kind of programs. So, you're limiting yourself, you really are. That goes for phone operating systems too. iOS versus Android. And I say iOS because it's iOS versus Android. It's not iPhone 4 versus Android, because that's a handset. Big difference. Okay, I live in the Northeast. Where I live, we don't have great coverage for AT&T. Well, guess what? I'm not going to limit myself with crappy 3G coverage and crappy networking coverage by a company that doesn't want to be where I'm living at. The only company that's invested any money to where I'm living at is Verizon. And Sprint only covers around the major metropolitan area that I live about 60 miles from. So, yeah, not really an option. So, what do I go with? I go with what works for me. And my options, while limited, are better than what they were. And I run Android. I've dealt with AT&T in the networks in the past, and I refuse to deal with them again. I had nothing but trouble with the network, and I'm not dealing with it again. Between drop calls, spotty reception, places where everybody else is getting reception except for me, I'm not dealing with that anymore. Now, you can talk about iTunes versus the Android marketplace and all this other crap. It's dumb. iTunes and Apple sell one thing and one thing only. You can say aesthetics, you can say integration, or you can say anything you want. It boils down to one word, and that's an experience. Because they tie hardware, software, and everything into one platform. And the platform is not OS 10. The platform is iTunes. That is the platform. That's the delivery mechanism across all these other products. And that's what it boils down to. Android takes the other end of the spectrum. They take a very Windows approach to it without the licensing. And that's what it boils down to. I'm not limited to one phone on one carrier. I can shop my carriers. I can look for the best price. I can look for this. I can look for that. So, the Apple fans, some of us don't want the Apple experience. I like some of the older Apple hardware. I don't care for the newer stuff. It's just Intel-based components to me. Really all it is, because I build these things. I build PCs. Mac is a PC because you slap Windows on it, you're running a PC that's got some nice aesthetics. You buy a Mac Pro, you're getting a tower that doesn't have the cluster of cables. That's really what you're buying. You're buying aesthetics. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the fact of the matter is that these debates about my platform better than yours is retarded. Everything has an equal, and sometimes a better. So if you want to talk about malware on the Android platform, here's the thing. If you go to the market and install an application, there's a warning that tells you every feature that is required for that program. Why, if you're downloading a wallpaper, isn't going to need to deal with your personal information? That's just dumb and stupid end users. And unfortunately, I'm going to get flack for this. Apple has had a hand in that dumbing down of technology. You can call it making it more accessible all you want. Some people just shouldn't have access to certain technology because they don't know how to use it. And that's really what it boils down to.